We all hope to have happiness, to have kindness, compassion, love, energy. And it's like, no, it doesn't work like that. Like a power plant doesn't have energy, it generates energy. See, what a power plant does is it takes energy from one source, rushing water, spinning turbines, windmill, nuclear, whatever it is. It takes energy from one source, and what it basically does, it takes it from that source and transforms it into a higher source and then transmits it. That's what a power plant is doing. It is transforming and generating a new, higher level of energy. So for those who go, oh, my partner is such a jerk. My team at work, oh, they're so negative. They're so awful. I am here to tell you, guess what? Okay, so your job is take that low level of energy and convert it into a higher level of energy. Who's an entrepreneur in this room here? You ever heard that definition of entrepreneurs? They take one level of value and they 1+ it into a higher level of value, and that's why they get paid so much. It's about taking value and amplifying it. Well, energy is that way too. But what we do is we blame energy. My energy is this way because, listen, if you saw my schedule the last 6 months, you would cry for me, Argentina. You'd be like, how is he still standing and running around here like a little Energizer bunny? How is he doing that? Because everything over the last couple months, you'd be like, oh, that's not possible. It's because I don't hope to have energy. I generate energy. We can all generate energy on command. You did it this morning. Remember when I had you stand up and I just had you speed up your mind? Who liked that this morning? You got to use your mind for energy way more often, but you can use your body too. Watch, put your stuff down, stand up. Let's try something. Who's game to try something up in HPX? Let's try something together. Put your stuff down. Because by my watch, it says the chicken just hit your stomach. So as you're standing, all I want you to do, bounce in place, close your eyes, swing your arms, take 10 deep breaths. We're gonna do 2 activities now. Take 10 deep breaths. A deep breath means your neighbor can hear you. You breathe in through your nose, your stomach comes out, you breathe out through your mouth, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, bounce in place, swing those arms. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in, deep breath out. You're doing good. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Okay, good. Now, we're just getting warmed up. Now, here's what I want you to do. We're gonna do an activity called Qigong. Very simple. We're gonna open up the meridians of your body. If you don't believe in Eastern arts like meridians of your body, then in science, there's things called nerve cells. And they're on your skin. And when you activate them, you feel differently. And when you move your body or your skin around, you move the lymph, which also gets things generating. And if you move your body, you also activate your lung system. So hey, guess what? Call it meridians or call it science. Here we go. What we're gonna do is take a nice deep breath in, a nice deep breath out. Now, for those who have never done this before, this is gonna be super weird. So if you thought it was gonna get weird, this is the part. You take your hands like this. In Qigong, it's called cupping, because you're cupping, cup out your hands. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start at our lower left ankle, and we're basically gonna pat, called cupping, and we're gonna move up our leg like half an inch at a time. And then we're gonna do our right leg, then we're gonna do our hands, then our sides, and then our back. So for those who don't do it yet, watch what it looks like when you do your left leg. You just come to your ankle, and all you're doing is just cupping, patting, and you're moving up to the top of your leg. That's all you're doing. Go around, pat your ass, because you've done a good job so far. Nice work. Set it down, breathe in. Then we'll do the next leg. Then we'll do the arms. Then we'll do the sides. And then we'll do the back. If this sounds crazy, wait till you see how you feel. HPX, are you ready? Yeah. Are you ready? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Left leg starting at the ankle. Let's see how you do. Cup your hands, and the idea, put positive intention and energy into your body. This is an act of love. Coming up around. Now you're patting your buttock. Your buttocks, sir. Okay, good, good. Set it down, breathe. Feel better already? We haven't started. Next leg, let's go. You're doing great. Good job, good job. You guys have it totally unfair. You have chairs. Here we go. Reaching around back. Good. Nice and strong on that hamstring. Harder on the hamstring. Good, good. Set it down, breathe. Woo! Breathe, nose. Woo! Breathe in through the nose. Woo! Good. Stick that left arm out. Let's go. Fingertips. All my students know I do this every 50 minutes, including if I'm on a plane, in the bathroom. The things they think are happening. Okay. Shoulder is down, strong on the shoulder. Nice and strong on the shoulder. Good, release that shoulder. Breathe. Breathe. Good. Fingertips, next side. Let's go. You're doing great. The hotel is wondering what we're doing in here right now. What happens to these Burchard events? Set that shoulder down, release that shoulder. Nice and strong on the shoulder. Breathe. Breathe. Good. Now we're going to bend slightly at the waist and on our lower back. From here, take 10 deep breaths. That's 1, 2. Keep breathing. 3. Keep breathing. 4. 5. You're doing great. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Stand, bounce, shake out those arms. Shake out those arms, shake out those arms, shake out those arms. Okay, now just stand and march just real lightly. And notice the energy around your body. Now just kind of sway side to side. Just notice the energy. Oh, yes, keep breathing. That's good. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. Okay, now keep breathing. As you're swaying, close your eyes, and I want you to refresh your mind. Just like we did this morning, maybe you speed it up. Maybe suddenly you're Einstein and your brain is going faster, or you see fireworks, or you're readying your body to run, leap, jump, take off, serve, command. You feel strength in your body. Your mind is revving up though. It's getting clear. It's getting excited. It's getting back into this room to be present, to transform your life for other people, that you're going to do something for yourself here to serve other people. It feels good. Your mind is revving up, baby. You're feeling it. You're feeling it. Take another notch up. Put a big old smile on your face with your eyes closed. Just breathe. Oh, yeah. Okay, open up your eyes and look around to all the beautiful, vibrant people around you. Give yourselves a round of applause. And give 5 hugs like you just won the lottery. Go. Have a seat, you beautiful people. The power plant doesn't have energy. So let me tell you a secret of my career. You know, I've had the blessing of shooting 30 plus online courses. Many of them 5-week online courses, really long. Some of you have ever logged into them. Just checking. People are like, how have you done so many? I really believe we all have the same hours in the day. The difference, I believe, is that some people are doing strategic resets throughout the day, and other people are burning themselves into the ground. Who knows the difference in this room? Who's had some burnout in the last year? Who can own that that was your responsibility? See, the power plant is either running at a capacity that is too high and it's gonna blow itself up, or it does something called metering the energy. To meter the energy. Larger power plants, they meter the energy. Sometimes they turn on and turn off just to set and reset, set and reset, set and reset. My great competitive advantage in my whole career in terms of productivity, every 50 minutes, I do that. What you just did. Every 50, it took a while to explain it, but really, you're just going like this, you're going like this, you're going like this, you're going like this, you're off to the races. Close your eyes, set a new intention, and go. See, anyone ever follow like race car driving? See, that's all? Okay. So they put a track there, and little cars on that track, and they're real fast. And they go in a circle real fast, like 200 miles an hour plus, fast, scary. And they don't go the whole time. They pull over and they do called a what? Pit stop. When they do a pit stop, the crew comes in, boom, and it goes off again. Now the car didn't need the pit stop when it got the pit stop. The pit stop is a preventative maintenance activity. Meaning, we're gonna set this thing up so it has more energy to go further. It probably didn't need the refuel at the moment, but it took the refuel so it could go longer. Some of you grind and burn, and you do it all day, every day, and it's a grind and it's a burn, and you're not replenishing. You're not doing what we call a strategic reset. For me, it's on the hour. Every hour for 20 years, I'm doing a reset. I never sit at my desk for 3 hours, and I'm a writer. I sit at my desk. Now I have a thing, my butt hits the ground. I hit a timer, 45 minutes or 50 minutes. Boom, I write. No matter if I'm coming up with genius level stuff and that thing goes beep, I stop. I stand up. I might do a few downward facing dogs, a little bit of vinyasa flow. I'll do my qigong. I'll go get water, take a big drink of water, full glass of water, come back, ask, what's most important for me to focus on this next hour? What's most important for me to focus on this next hour? What's my intention here? Now the difference is, a lot of people go all day grinding and burning out, and then they get to the end of the day, they go, oh my gosh, I didn't do the thing. Because they only checked in once. Most people check in once if they're on priority. I had 9 or 10 pit stops. How many follow? Most people, they want to work. I got no energy. Well, of course you burned all day. 6 o'clock, I'm getting warmed up because I had my pit stops. I'm fresh. And the power plant generates the energy. So I'm going to generate the energy. I also think this follows true in your relationships. You have to take responsibility of the energy in your relationships, and you've got to generate the energy. I always say, love them so much, they become lovingly annoyed by you. Because what most people do, they try to put good energy into the relationship, and then they back away. They try, they back away. They try, they feel discounted, they go away for 4 or 5 days, 4 or 5 weeks, 2, 3 years. And then they go, oh, it didn't work. Oh no, energy is daily. You want to shift your team, you want to shift your relationship, you want to shift your own energy, you've got to win the energy game. More than any other game in my life that I've won and tried to win, it's the energy game. Because when you're abundant with energy, you can do anything. But remember, the power plant doesn't have energy, it I want you to create a higher level of energy in this room, right? Here, just deciding to like, oh, we're gonna go to this other level. We're gonna be extraordinary. So tell the person left, right, shake them, say, be extraordinary.
How do you deal with negative people? Now, wait a second, don't jump anywhere because maybe you think you know the answer to this, but I have a different take on it. Because you know what, today it's very popular for people to tell you, well, just get rid of negative people. Never be around them. Just be around positive people all the time. But what happens when the negative person is your spouse or your brother or your sister or that guy at work you have to sit next to every day, dude? What do you do when real life is here and we're not in some la-la land of personal development where everybody's positive and perfect? Because you and I both know there are people out there who are very critical, who will be harsh with you, who will try to find every little thing they can to comment about you, or they're always complaining about the weather or the news, and just their energy makes you want to just like repel. That's real. And sometimes you can't get rid of those people. And sometimes, in my personal opinion, I don't know, somehow the advice of just get rid of everything in life that you don't like seems a little weak-willed, if you know what I mean. You know, it's just like, gosh, yes, it's wonderful that we have this new modern age of ease and convenience, and there are lots of options for us. But you know, we also have to develop our character. So let me tell you my thoughts about number one thing you should do when you got to deal with negative people. Use it. Use their energy, use that energy they put out there, use that challenge for your own character development. Really. See, when someone's negative around me, I don't sit there and I don't become a victim. Oh gosh, they're such negative. I don't go home and assume their energy and now I'm negative. Instead, I go, you know what? This is a moment to test. Am I really in command of my emotions and how I think, or are they? Am I giving my power over to the world so that they can just take my energy and turn it to what they want, or am I in charge? So I use it as a challenge. Not as something, I don't have to challenge or change them immediately. I'll get to that point. But I get to the point where I say, you know what? Here's a little challenge the world's throwing at me right now. Can I stay on my game? Can I stay centered? Can I stay peaceful? Can I stay calm? Can I stay present right here, right now, and not have to run away from it, not have to pretend it's not there, but use it? And I encourage you to do that. Because if it's just something that you immediately complain about, well then, in your complaint, you just let them win. Their negativity has turned you into noticing what is negative, and you lost. You're not winning. Even if you can critically, throw a barb at it, make fun of it, you're still losing. You're being sucked into their pools of pessimism. You're drowning. So I say, use it, recognize it, and use it. Second, I say this, empathize. A lot of people who are being in a negative mood or negative energy, you don't know why. You've had a bad day too. You've been rude. Yes, I know you're amazing and you watch this show and you're really into personal development, but at the end of the day, you've been rude to people too. You've had a bad day. You've snapped. You've been impatient. You've hollered. You've been a jerk when you shouldn't have been. You know it. Well, other people do too. So when somebody is negative, always I wonder what happened today that led to that. Maybe the kids got out of the wrong side of bed and they were just horrible that morning and that person didn't sleep last night. Maybe something happened with their family. Maybe on the way to the work, they just thought of something very depressing in their past. Maybe the truth is, right now, they're so unclear about who they are and what they want in life that they're taking out on other people. Maybe their own failures, their own struggles, their own disappointments have ravaged them and led them to, depression, led them to mental disorder. The reality is we never know someone's story. And once you can teach yourself that, I really believe you become a better human. You become more compassionate, you're better at listening, you're better able to understand because you have the intention to sympathize and say, oh, that person's really in a bad place right now. You don't take ownership of that, say, well, I didn't cause it. You just say simply, they're in a bad place. I hope they're okay. I think it's a real, true personal power to be able to walk by negative people and still say, I wish you nothing but joy and health and strength and love in your life. To have that hope for people, even when they're in a bad place, that's humanity. I would say number 3, go for it. Shift it. It's one of my favorite games I play in my entire life. When there's a group of people around me and they're in a negative energy, I love to try and shift it. Not by telling them they're in a bad energy, but by trying to introduce humor, trying to introduce something, pointing out something that I'm grateful for, that I appreciate, making fun of the situation, teasing, making fun of myself. Whatever I need to do, I take it as a challenge to how can I say something stupid that makes them kind of shift their energy. I call it leveling up. So it's like when you're around a group of people and their energy is down here, can you level up? Not by accosting them and saying, your energy sucks, I hate you, but instead by introducing the positive into that negative situation. Because you'll find that if you'll do those first couple steps, you really focus on using that situation to test yourself and that you're still empathetic. Then when you come in and you try to shift it, it's just like, wow, you'll really develop people skills. You'll really develop the ability to lead. You'll really develop the ability to start movements, to make a difference, because nothing shifts the world more than you shifting your energy to complement or to serve the world. So give it a try. Try to shift that energy. And last piece, which I think is really, really important, is do not fear making the request. Saying to somebody straightforward, especially if they're negative all the time around you, don't blame them, don't be mean to them, don't belittle them, don't hit them with negative energy. Instead, make a request. Say this, you know what? I've just been having a hard time lately with my energy, and I know sometimes, you're in that place too, and there's a lot going on that's negative and everything, but can I ask you a favor? Could you just play a game with me and just try to be attentive to your energy and be positive with me, just for me. I know you're good and you got your own stuff. I'm just wondering, could you help kind of just increase the energy around here for a little while? I've noticed the team needs it. I've noticed the kids need it. I've noticed that I'm having a tough time, and I know you can help me out. And I just feel like the energy around here is too negative. Sometimes I contribute to that, and I know you have your tough times, but I wonder if together we could just say, you know what? Let's be a little bit more positive. Could we try? And just enroll them. Don't blame them. Don't minimize them. Enroll them. Try these ideas. I know it's difficult when somebody who's in your family or somebody who you work with every day or somebody who you care about isn't as positive as you. But you don't have to throw them out like yesterday's garbage. There's always going to be negative people. So the question isn't, can you get rid of all of them? There's 7 billion people on the planet. That'd be getting rid of a lot of people. Instead, learn to use it as something that develops your strengths as a human and allows you to serve people and for you to inject more positive energy into the world. Do that more often, you'll experience what we call the charge zone.
Beat back those fears. I've got 4 big ideas for you, and you're gonna love them. Number 1, and you're gonna hate this one, but I'll make sure you like the rest. Number 1, stop thinking the reason you are not getting ahead has anything whatsoever to do with fear. Fear gets too much play in our lives. We're always going to it. We're always blaming it. Oh, it's fear. Fear held me back. Well, I'm worried about this, so I stopped. And you know what it is? It's a grand lie that's been perpetuated by society. It's a huge lie. Because look, fear, real fear, physical fear especially, is there's an external threat that's imminent and it's in your face. That's fear. Everything else is a self-contrived story that we tell ourselves. And we need to realize that most fear is just bad management of our minds. But we allow ourselves to loop it. What happens if you don't know psychologically what's happening? Fear is really just saying, what if, followed by a negative statement. What if she rejects me? What if they don't give me the promotion I ask? What if I fail? What if they make fun of me? What if I lose everything I worked so hard for? What if followed by a negative statement? I have a question for you though. What if you started focusing more in your life on the what ifs followed by a positive statement? What if she says yes? What if I get what I finally deserve? What if I can grow this business? What if I can accomplish that? What if I believed in myself again? And you started stewing on the positive as much as you stewed on that old negative. It would change your story. It would change how you feel about yourself. Fear is usually not the thing holding people back. What's usually holding them back is a connection with something more important than fear. Let me say it again. Fear is not usually what's holding people back. What's holding them back is a lack of connection with something that's bigger than fear, right? I mean, how does a soldier run into harm's way? How does a firefighter run into the burning building? It's not that they're not fear, right? There is always going to be fear when you're doing something where there might be risk. But instead, the soldier is attached to his mission, his commitment, his pledge to his country, something bigger than the fear and himself. The firefighter runs into the building, he's still afraid. He or she runs in that building because they have a bigger commitment to serve people and save people that's bigger than their fear. If you're not doing something, don't blame fear. Realize that you're lacking a connection to something that's bigger than the fear. Something that you care about more than your insecurity, your worry, your negative what ifs. And so that's what the heroes do. The firefighter said, what if I could save lives? The soldier said, what if I could serve my country? The executive who finally tried that big, bold, crazy idea said, not what if this turns out badly, what if this is innovative, changes the game, serves our customers better? The woman who finally talked to her husband about that thing that's bothering her so long, instead of saying, well, what if he's a jerk? She said, well, he's probably going to be a jerk, but what if I finally move him this time? They allowed themselves to believe. She said, what if he finally changes? And she got over her fears because she said, I care about our relationship and our future more than how scared I am to say something that's vulnerable. You follow? Stop blaming the fear, my friend. This was a big thing for me. I probably started shooting videos about 2 years after I should have, because I thought, well, what if they make fun of me? What if no one watches them? I wasn't a good communicator. This, like I'm doing now, I don't have a teleprompter. I have a couple bullet points in front of me. I'm teaching you from my life, from my experience of serving millions of people around the world. I didn't have that ability before. So I sat there for years, worried and not ready to start. And it was too unfortunate. I mean, I wish I'd started earlier. But back then it was, well, what if it doesn't work? What if this is stupid? And then finally I said, you know what? This isn't fear. There's no fear preventing me from going around and pressing the red button on that camera. There is no fear. There's no fear there. There's a story there. There's a what if followed by a negative statement there. But there's no fear. There is no lie-in between me and the video camera. It's my own self stopping me. It's my own lack of commitment to something bigger than that red button. Stop telling yourself it's fear, my friend, and that will change everything in your life. Number 2, and this is huge, huge, huge. If you don't believe anything I just said, then fine. Get a piece of paper and write down the real fears. Write them down. I want you to think of the dream that you have, the ambition, the goal, and any reason that you think you've been stopping, write down why. Okay, what would you have to go learn, do, or ask for in order to overcome that fear or that challenge? It's simple. You know, the biggest breakthrough sometimes for people's lives is when they write stuff down. Have you ever had that? You've been in a seminar and you're writing your journal and pow, the idea hits you. Or you're writing your journal at night, or you're typing your book, or you're doing something, and just by the act of expression or capturing, you find your answers. So if I'm talking to you, it's just not hitting, that's okay. Take that time and you'll find your own answers. When you say, I want this, but this is stopping me, and then you take that next step to say, okay, here's what I should do to address, learn, re-equip, ask for help to address that challenge, then guess what happens? You usually do. Third big idea from there, You know what? Fear tends to dissipate with daily action. Fear tends to dissipate with daily action. So I'd love you to do this. All I want you to do is take 3 steps a day. Accomplish 3 goals a day. I know sometimes in your life when it's really difficult. I remember when in my life when I was seriously depressed and suicidal as a young man in college after my girlfriend broke up with me. You know what? A goal for the day might be something as big as take a shower. Literally, that might have been it. Take a shower, eat some food, talk to a friend. That sometimes when you're there, that's all it takes. But you can do those 3 things. When you're uber successful now and you're breaking through, it might be call that person who you've been waiting to call and ask for something from. Shoot that video, create that product, invent that thing, tell those people to stop, ask for help, whatever it is. Find 3 things that you can do every day that's appropriate for where you're at in your life and just do them. Because you know what? Momentum beats the pants out of fear. The more momentum in your life, you get what we call in psychology the experience of the competence-confidence loop. Have you heard of that? The competence-confidence loop? It's a psychologically proven reality where the better you get or the more momentum you get, the more confidence. And the beauty is the more confidence you get, the more you'll try things and develop more knowledge, skill, and ability. Thus, more competence. And the more competence is confidence, the more confidence. These things grow together. And all of a sudden, fear isn't such a thing anymore because you know what? You've gotten through things before. You've broken through things before. And because you did that, things change. And here's the last big idea. What's something crazy that you could aspire to or want? Crazy. When you looked at your goals, was there anything on those goals that were crazy, totally out of reach? You were like, no way, don't know how, can't do that. Were there anything like that? I want you to find those things. I want you to write that thing down. Here's 3 big crazy things I want in my life. Then I also want you to write, here's the fear I would have if I chased those or I accomplished those. 3 big fears of if I chased it or accomplished it. Because sometimes it's not just the fears we have today, it's we're thinking we're going to have fear tomorrow. Well, if I go for that dream, then these things I might have fears later on. Identify those and create an action plan for those too. Because you know what? The more you think about your fears, the more you realize they're silly. The more you realize those worst case scenarios almost never happen. And the more you realize you deserve something beyond them. You don't deserve to live a life trapped by fear. That cage of fear can only be rattled by you, only be broken by you, only be broken by your mind expanding into new possibilities for yourself and you taking new daily actions. It's okay to think crazy once in a while. I want something crazy and big, and it's a big goal, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. Don't let fear stop you. Get committed to what you want. Set those daily actions and quit making the excuses that it's fear, my friend. It will be the biggest breakthrough you ever have in your life.
This has been so powerful when you've shared this on our morning show, and I just want to share it with everyone here. A lot of people are showing up here going, okay, like it's been a hard 14 months and struggling with self-doubt, struggling all the things. And some people have goals that they're trying to figure out with their career and all the other stuff. Yeah. But then there's also a thing called feelings goals.
Yes.
Feelings goals, right? So many of you guys, this is going to be new for a lot of people. This is newer for me in my own life, frankly, right? Because, all my years of working as a Denny's waitress, trying to all the jobs and then all the years of rejection with my business, when I finally got, when we were finally getting momentum, I didn't feel the day. I just drove as hard as I could. And one of the things Brendon has shared so much about, and I would love for you to share with everyone live right now, is you can have goals in your fitness journey and in your career and all these things, but what about goals for your feelings, for how you feel and how you feel the day? Can you share?
Yes.
This is so powerful.
I remember the first time I said this to her, feel the day, and she's like, oh, right. And we had this huge, great talk about it, because what happens is sometimes you're taking care of the kids, you're going through your life, you're doing the projects, you have the to-do lists, and you're just going, and you finish the day, you didn't even feel the day.
There's no reverence for life. There's no love. There's no heart. There's no spirit, no flow, no connection, no creative pop. And it's not because it wasn't there. It was just, you just like blew through the day. You bullied the hours, I call it. And there was no moment of a pit stop to give prayer or meditation or gratitude or a second to go like, how am I feeling? And, am I experiencing the energy that I want to experience in life? And that's, again, we generate that, but feeling the day. I found the most successful people in the world, I remember we drew this out. I went to Jamie's house almost 2 years ago, I think now.
Yeah.
And we were talking about successful people, and there's drawing this little triangle, and what everybody wants after they've gotten everything. After you hit your goals, you made the money you feel like your family needs, what you want is you want to feel the day more. You want greater depth in your relationships, like deeper relationships, deeper commitment, deeper meaning, right? We all want those things. And then we also want to know that we're leaving some kind of legacy or contribution, what I call meaningful pursuits. And I think feeling the day should be in your top 1 or 2 priorities every day. The whole mindfulness movement is really architected to, I want to feel the day. I want to feel presence, right? I want to feel the energy. I want to feel the spirit. I want a self-awareness or consciousness. It's a different feeling of the day versus just like powering through or caffeinating through it all and just blunting it out. We want you to have those sensations of beauty and honor and respect and depth every day. We want you to feel joy and reverence every day. She knows I probably say reverence every morning show because I'm so happy. Who feels so happy to be alive? I'm so happy to be alive. I'm so happy to be with this woman. I'm so happy with this team and you all guys. It's amazing. It's a gift.
Yeah, I love that so much. And even Ed Milet was sharing a little bit about that idea of, setting goals also for feeling the day. And then also like what are feelings we want in our life? And I think you just named a big one too, which is presence. I think that it's been so easy, especially the last 14 months, to like disconnect and just try to numb out and try to surf Instagram or watch the news or all the things, right? And so many people are saying that's really taken a toll on them, that they feel their own light dimming when they do that. And, I started the morning off by talking about how that light is still inside of you, that light in every single one of us, right? A lot of people nodding. It's still inside of you right now. And I think part of igniting it is learning to feel the day, right? So what are just a few just simple tips people can do who are like, Brendon, how do I feel the day?
I feel nothing. Part of it, to recognize your overall emotional feeling every day is usually a 72-hour after effect of how you moved, breathed, slept, and ate in the last 72 hours. It really is like it's a cumulative effect, especially of the last 72 hours have a lot to do with your emotional world. So that's why having good habits on a consistent basis, like you might listen, if you want to have a cheat day, that's okay, but that's why they call it a cheat day. You eat bad for one day, but then like number 2 and number 3, if you get back on the train, you start feeling good again, right? So it's okay to have one day off, but I think the most important thing for feeling the day is you need to have pit stops throughout the day. You need to have moments that you purposely take every day throughout the day to reconnect with spirit, soul, energy, or even just to breathe, mom. Like just to take a beat, close your eyes. Like I'll stand. I do this every hour, okay? I'll stand up. Sorry for the camera guys. I'll stand every hour. I stand up. You've been asking me to demonstrate.
Yes, demonstrate.
I will stand up. I will close my eyes because a lot of your fatigue is visual fatigue. And that visual fatigue is causing a lot of neurological fatigue. So closing your eyes, especially because we're all these devices, close your eyes. I stand, I bounce in place. I swing my arms. I take 10 deep breaths like this. 10 deep breaths like that every hour. And it re-energizes my body and my brain, and it's a little pit stop. And now my mental focus is back. When I open my eyes, I go, what's my intention for this next hour? And that little pit stop makes me go longer, just like a race car. It can go around the whole race, but it doesn't. It takes the pit stops to tune it up so it can go longer and faster and win the race. You need a little more pit stops to tune your mind up, amp up your emotions, reconnect with the heart or the spirit or the soul. And if you are just grinding all day, there's no pit stops. That's the equation for burnout.
Yeah, well, so many people feeling burnt out, right? People that aren't leaving their home but because of the pandemic, but just so burnt out and so overwhelmed. And one thing you shared that I want to make sure everyone caught is the idea of visual fatigue, because that was a huge aha moment that I had with you on the morning show just in the past few weeks. I thought, you guys, we implemented this at It Cosmetics. We grew to over 1,000 employees, and we would start ending meetings like 5 minutes before the hour, instead of just back-to-back meetings, right? Because the idea that you can get up and just walk around and move your body. But one of the things you brought up is I learned I was doing them wrong because I was like walking and moving, but still engaged. I would take meetings in the hallway walking, or I would check my email on that 5-minute break, right? And can you just quickly share the idea that when you do take a pit stop, when you do take that 5 minutes, right? And this is hard for a lot of people, but the idea is when you take that 5 minutes, the other 55, right? Or you take the 10 minutes, the other 50 are so much more alive.
Yes.
They're so much more alive. So people that say, oh, I can't afford to do that. No. You're so much more alive than those other 50. But I was doing it wrong because I wasn't actually resting my mind. And you talk about the power of like visual fatigue. If you take a break and you're scrolling Instagram or emails, that's not a break.
That's exhaustion, right? Scrolling is just exhausting your brain even more and more and more and more. It's engaging it, but it's exhausting it more and more and more. And so it's like this. You cannot possibly hope that burnout will end if you don't more consistently recharge. But we grew up on a century-old model that, we'll get to recharge when we retire. We'll get to recharge, 2 weeks out of the year when we have vacation. It's why people are miserable, because the burnout is real because they don't recharge. That one day I'll recharge, the spa day, or a year from no. The world's largest study of productivity that's ever been done found out the most productive people in the world who also reported high levels of happiness, they took a break on average every 52 minutes. Largest study ever done. Every 52 minutes they took a break. Did they need the break? No, they're recharging. If you're crashing at 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon every day, it's time to take a hint. You need to recharge at like 10:30, 11:30, or 1:30 to prevent the crash that happens 2 or 3. The crashes happen because the recharges are not happening. And so the burnout will always be there. And I always say, make sure you don't blame the burnout on anybody. Please don't blame your burnout on your kids. That's not fair to them. Don't blame your burnout on the team. Blame the burnout on either ambition that is unmet with planning or just not taking care of and prioritizing your self-care or your well-being. Take care of you so you have the energy to serve at your highest levels. I think that is something we call alignment.
When most people evaluate themselves? When they have a performance review coming up at work, when they've really screwed something up and they're guilty and they're thinking of all the other stupid things they've done that hurt them. When they hit a birthday, when they hit New Year's, when someone holds up a mirror in front of them and says, hey, you're being a jerk, and they have to really reevaluate. Most people are not proactively assessing their performance. And so when it comes time to do that, they're disappointed. And so if this is not a basic habit for you, I need you to start scoring yourself at the end of the day. Now, people really don't like this one, and I'm just gonna be upfront about that. You probably won't want to do this, and a lot of people don't. But if there's something inside of you that is restless for that next level, we're gonna have to start measuring. If you don't measure it, you can't improve it. And the same way that most people, if you ever try to lose weight or gain, you notice, apparently this is weightlifting talk, but if you've ever tried to get stronger, you gotta write it down. Like, how many reps did you do? How did you, what routines did you do today? How much weight did you use? If you do that in the gym, well, you got to do that in the playground of life too. But most don't. And they're really struggling. I can't tell you, it's just painful to watch. I'll show up and I'll tell me about your life. And first, they don't even know where to start because they've never measured themselves. And then second, in the dialogue with me as a high performance coach, I find them disappointed, upset, struggling, unsure of themselves. And a lot of that could have been handled if
on a more consistent basis, they were self-aware and personally accountable to their own behavior and growth. I mean, isn't it true? Don't you know somebody you wish, oh my gosh, I wish that person would like stop at the end of the day and say, am I being a good person? I mean, isn't there someone you're so frustrated with right now in life who you would just love to sit them down and say, hey, you need to be more self-aware. You aren't paying attention to who you're being, and it's hurting everybody around you. Jerk. You know, we all have that person we wish they were more self-aware. But how do you get self-awareness? You just go to a meditative retreat once a year? Do you luck out into being a self-aware person? Self-awareness is gained by self-evaluation. If you want to be better, aware of who you are, where you can grow, how you can uniquely give or serve, we need to evaluate yourself. Does this make sense? So what are your habits right now for evaluating yourself? What do they look like? How are you measuring yourself and your progress in life? What are those? If you got some, man, virtual high five, I could be there with you. You know, celebrate that. That's awesome, right? That's incredible, because most people don't do that. So I hope that you are doing that, but it's a struggle for a lot of people too. So here's a simple way that you can end your day scoring yourself along the lines of, again, what we're talking about here, productivity specifically. You might have other ways. You might score your personal values. You might score your energy. You might score how much influence you had with other people. I'm going to give you some related to what we talked about, productivity, so we can get some quick wins and gains for you as we jump into more in-depth training. Here's what those are. I would like to ask yourself at the end of the day these specific statements, and then rate yourself. Low, 1 means you suck. Okay? 5 means you're awesome. You're doing a good job, okay? So let's walk through these. Number 1, I worked on things that mattered most today. I know that's basic, so I'll go fast here. Number 2, I progressed a major dream or goal today. Meaning, did you progress today? Number 3, I avoided distractions well today. Number 4, I set intentions before each major activity today. That's a huge one. Number 5, I fully engaged and enjoyed my efforts today, because high performers strive satisfied. They're engaged, and in that engagement, they find joy, and they find fulfillment, satisfaction, confidence. It's by engaging. So how did you do today? Did you enjoy your efforts or not? Now remember, low, 1, 1, 1, 1, high, 5, 5, 5. Where are you here? So every day, I sit myself down and I started scoring myself. This is probably about 7 years ago. And remember, 7 years ago, I was still then a certified high performance coach. 7 years ago, I was like, my career was just taking off. And what we want to believe is that people just kind of bumble into progress. People bumble into momentum. I'm telling you, high performers are more strategic and they're more self-evaluative. Now, many of them, this was a unconscious competence for them. They really didn't know that their self-talk was so oriented towards self-evaluation until I did some coaching and interviewing with them to discern that. But it turns out high performers, they're measuring stuff. Now, I just want to make it easier for you. So here's a simple tool. Just write those things down, then score yourself. Now, when you score yourself, at the end of the day, add your score up. So let's say your 3s all the way down. That'd be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Montana kid doing math. And it was right. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's say you're 15. So you add your score up, that'd be 15. Then multiply it by 4. 15 times 4 is 60. That will give you a score of 100%. Okay? Whatever your score is, keep seeking clarity each day, and you'll get better and better and better. Try to improve this each day. Look, there's going to be days you're a 2, other days you're a 5, but the goal is to ask yourself this. Like, I want you to do something, and if this sounds too basic, here's what I want you to do, and add to your routine that maybe you already have. Maybe you end your day with journaling. Congratulations, not enough. Okay? Instead, what I want you to do is create your own scoring mechanism for the end of the day, whether it's taking a page out of my playbook here, or you're scoring yourself, right? If I ask you, how'd you do today? And you go, good. That's one level of self-evaluation. But if I say, how did you do today? And I give you a specific context. How did you do today in keeping to your own agenda? That you might say, good, or pretty well. But if I say, how did you do today in keeping to your own agenda on a scale of 1 to 10? 1, you sucked and got pulled into everybody else's agenda. You got totally distracted. You didn't get anything done you wanted to. 10, you were superbly excellent today. You stayed on point. It's different quality, isn't it? When you got to rate yourself and you're like, I was a 6. And then my next question to you goes, well, why were you a 6 versus say a 10? Then you can go, oh, well, because I made these decisions, or I allowed that, or this person did this. Okay, great, okay. Well, what would it take to go from a 6 to a 10? Well, I would have had to have done this, or next time I would do this, right? As soon as you score yourself, you have an anchor or a benchmark from which to move yourself, and a different level of self-evaluation. So what could you, I know I'm talking along about this, there's one reason. I'm trying to get you in your own unconscious mind right now to be generating a lot of ways you could score yourself. Because for me, there's 50 different things I score myself on at the end of the day. 50. Now, here's the thing. I don't let my low numbers bum me out. Because the truth is, you know what? Measuring myself across 50 things every day, it's not like I'm a robot. I'm like, you know, it's not like I'm perfect in every one of those areas. But here's what happens. Let me tell you this. This is a huge insight, so please write this down. If you're not scoring yourself consistently, that's why you feel so out of balance. If you're not scoring yourself consistently, that's why you feel yourself so out of balance. It's why, you know, one day you realize you've been working so hard, but you neglected the kids. Why? Did you neglect the kids because you're a bad person or a bad parent? No, it's because you didn't have the quality of your experience with them on a radar, on a dashboard, on a sheet at the end of each day or maybe each week. And so what happens is, you know, life takes hold of us. We get caught in the stream of life and we're just kind of getting carried along. And then one day we wake up and we realize, wait, I've gone down 7 different, you know, river channels that I didn't anticipate, right? And so the only way to keep us there is to evaluate. And I think if you can do that, things significantly shift. So I hope that you'll figure out what is your end of day scoring. I'm sure while I've been talking, you've been thinking of other things. You could score your energy. You could score how you treated your wife or your kids or your team. You could score how much you stayed focused. You could score how well you actually made sales or how well you dealt with clients or how well you built your business. I don't know what it is for you. But if you don't know what it is for you, and if you aren't scoring, I know the next level is right there for you. It's right there. So put this in play. This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.